Good morning and welcome to the Daily Bible Podcast. My name is William Hemsworth. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. Well, today we continue on in Matthew chapter 5, which of course is the Sermon on the Mount. We are nearing its completion. We only have a couple more paragraphs to go. So today's passages that we're going to read are Matthew chapter 5, verses 38 through 42. So again, you may be asking, William, why are we doing so many verses today? We did so many yesterday. Well, these verses that we're doing, they go hand in hand with each other. They feed off each other. And just in the spirit of continuity and to make sure the correct message is being given, I want to go ahead and make this exception to our 1 to 2 verse daily rule. So here we go. Matthew chapter 5, verses 38 and 42 say, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist an evildoer, but if anyone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your coat, give your cloak as well. And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go also the 2nd mile. Give to everyone who begs from you, and do not refuse anyone who wants to borrow from you." So as is a common theme in Scripture, we need to be able to understand the context in which these verses were written. Jesus isn't saying to be a pushover. He's not saying to be a wuss. He's not saying any of that. He's not saying any of that. So verse 38, Jesus is referencing the Old Testament text from the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible, specifically Exodus 21, verses 23 through 24, Leviticus 24, verses 19 and 20, and Deuteronomy 19, 21. Okay? These verses prohibited personal revenge and required law courts to hand down sentences stricter than what were appropriate. So therefore, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. All those popular sayings that we use in our modern context to justify us getting revenge on someone. Okay, these were never to be applied literally. Jesus is giving examples of doing more than our enemies or those who persecute us are asking of us. It doesn't mean we're to be a pushover. Do not resist an evil person. Turn the other cheek. Alright, so as far as not resisting an evil person, the context suggests that Jesus is prohibiting retaliation against the wrongs that we experience. It doesn't mean that we're not to be upset about it. It doesn't mean we don't need to defend ourselves if someone's coming at us trying to do us harm. It means that we're not seeking revenge. We're not letting that eat us alive. And when he says, if someone slaps you on the cheek, a slap by a person in the ancient times who was right-handed was considered backhanded. It was considered a backhanded blow. It was an insult in Jewish times from a superior to a subordinate. It wasn't an act of an aggressor. So when someone says to turn the other cheek, it doesn't mean that we're to be pacifists. When Jesus was saying this, it was in terms of a superior to a subordinate. It wasn't me coming at you to slap you and you give me the other cheek to just slap you again. That's not what it means. If someone comes up to slap you, it's okay to defend yourself. And in the last verses, Jesus is emphasizing being generous to those. Being generous. Okay, if someone comes up to take your tunic, give him another as well. Saying they probably really need it. Now, Jesus isn't justifying people stealing from us. But he is emphasizing generosity. Help where we can help. If someone needs clothing, let's go through our closets to see if there's anything we're not wearing anymore. Something we don't fit into. See if we can give it to them to help them out. All right. So today's verses go hand in hand. Jesus is not telling us to be pacifists. It's okay to defend ourselves. But what he is saying is, don't seek revenge. Don't let that anger and revenge eat you alive and take you away from what's important, which is our relationship with Him. And to also realize that there's people out there that need help. We need to be generous as well. I hope to shed some light on these verses today. If you enjoy the show, as always, I ask that you rate it, that you share it. But also, I want to do something new. If you have any prayer requests or anything like that, I would like to say maybe a prayer at the end of the show every day. If you want to be named by name, fine. If not, I understand that too. So you could leave your requests in the comments on Facebook, Twitter, on the Spreaker website, etc. Or you can feel free to email them to me at the hopewithin18@gmail.com. Well, God bless you guys. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Daily Bible Podcast. God bless you guys. Have a fantastic day.